What is up, YouTube? It's your boy Alex here from AlexCFE, and today we have another deck profile. Today we're going to be going over something kind of spicy for Premium. This is actually going to be Varga Premium. So you may have seen some lists for this in the past. I'm going to call this like Dauntless Varga or something like that. But I think that I have made a couple different choices, and I'll show you kind of why I did in my deck profile as we go through it. Additionally, I just think this deck is like super fun, and so long as Kagero exists in this game, so long as this game still exists, I'm going to still be playing it. I love freestanding Vanguards. I love Kagero. Kind of, you know, they always go hand in hand, so put the two passions together kind of made sense with this Premium build over here, and you can get off a ton of drive checks, a ton of restands through Dauntless, through Varga over here. So let's get into it, and I'll show you all the different things you can do with this deck. So really quickly before we begin, I just wanted to quickly mention that if you are interested in purchasing any of the cards you see here today, we do have a TCG player affiliate link in the description below. Absolutely no cost to you. You can shop that link to help support the channel. I really appreciate that. It does help me out a whole lot. Also, if you guys are enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like on the video, possibly consider subscribing to the channel. YouTube probably hates me right now. The algorithm probably hates me because I've taken some time off. So any like on this video honestly does help me out a lot. I really do appreciate it. And then lastly, shouts out to My Metal Cards over here. They sent me a custom AlexCFE one as well as a bunch of other ones I've handed out at tournaments. And you know, we don't have field centers in this game, so this kind of like little expression, self-expression, whatnot, just really does feel pretty cool. I've given them out to a lot of people at locals when they've won the tournament, so it feels cool just sitting across from it and seeing like, you know, a new piece of art, new piece of like self-expression. So really do like them. Shouts out to them. Go check them out on Twitter. I'll link it down in the description below also. And then without further ado, for real this time, let's get into the deck profile. So starting right off, this is honestly a pretty budget deck. Also, by the way, like you can build this for really not too much at all. The Gzone isn't too important in this, but just that is a four note right there, I guess. So starting off, just four of our starting engine pretty much for this. This is Dauntless Dragon, so we all kind of know what this does at this point, and if you're new to the game, I'll just go over it really quickly. This essentially is going to help us restand our Vanguard and basically extend Varga's extra drive checks if the situation is right. So its second skill auto over here, on Vanguard Circle once per turn at the end of battle attacked. If your hand has 4 or more cards, you get to discard 3 cards from your hand and stand this unit. And then when it's rode upon, you also choose one of your Vanguards, gets all this card's auto abilities other than this ability until the end of turn. So essentially what you can do is ride over this guy right here with Varga. We'll go over Varga in a second, and just give him a bunch of extra drive checks. So let's actually do that. Let's put these to the side real quick, and let's just focus on Varga for a second. Also, just you know, as a backup in case you really need to, if you don't want to go into your Gzone, you could ride one over that guy right there, and it does gain that extra auto skill right there, so you get to do at least 3 restands on it. So pretty cool in that regard. Basically what you want to do is ride over Varga with ride over Dauntless Dragon with Varga, because it's divine skill. If you have peppered your opponent, they're at 4, you know, they're just at that game state, it is what it is, you can get off a ton of drive checks. Like, we'll go over it right now. So firstly, you swing with Varga, right? 2 drive checks. Next, you're going to use its Dauntless Dragon. Just don't minus yourself with that first effect. But basically, you CB1, restand this guy, give it plus 2 drives until the end of turn. Swing again with 4, so we're at 6 drive checks right now. You Dauntless Dragon, discard those 3 cards, swing again, that's another 4, so we're at, what is that, 4? On top of that, that's 10. And then it's the last one over here, you CB1 to go and swing. That is, I believe it's 12 drive checks, something like that. It's like absolutely insane. And then if you hit the OT on top of it, depending on where you are, that's another 2 or 4, depending on what the drive checks are really at. Because Dauntless does not reduce your drive checks over there. It's a pretty hefty cost that you pay to kind of restand over here. So this just melds together so well when you're rolling on, you know, just getting it going, just reattacking. Like, it just feels so good. It's a very easy kind of deck to pilot. It's kind of like a very, you know, very focused in that, like, you just want to restand your Vanguard, you just want to swing. It feels less committal than Overlord. A lot of the Overlord builds right now just like too temperamental. You know, you're kind of sacrificing your own hand size in a way that you're not recouping. You're just putting on a little bit too much pressure early, and like the Heal Guardians really do affect it quite a bit. Whereas this one, it feels like it's doing the same thing as it used to, like old school Overlord used to be doing, but it feels, like I said, a lot less committal in a way. So I really do like this combo. I think this is a super fun deck. Like I said, I think that this, you know, can stand up to a lot of different things. It's a really fun kind of like out there weird left field pick. So that is the main combo over here. Everything else kind of supports that in the deck over here. So I'm still keeping 2 of these guys over here. It's nice because the front row rearguard circle during our turn, if a front row rearguard does not have the same card name as it, it just gets an extra 10k. And if you have a grade 3 with Varga in its card name, this guy gets boost. Also, it cannot be retired by card effects. So if something were to like interact and retire, things of that nature, like, it's not that it can't be chosen, it can be chosen, just can't be retired. So what is this over here? Yeah, it's during your turn. So that means, you know, they have a G guard that goes to retire, things like that. Like, you just can't do it. The extra 10k is good. And again, like, if they can't interact with it and they can't stop your Vanguard, let's say they have 4 PGs for your Vanguard. It is what it is. you cannot get through. Boom, you put all your triggers on this rear guard right here, like, or just put a couple on them. Boom, you have like an out there. You have just like a game plan, a backup plan, and that's the same as like in standard. So there's nothing really different about that altogether. It just feels good in the deck, like I said. It's just something that I like to include. I think that in any Varga deck, you kind of have to have at least one of these in there. And that too, it's not too bad. You can use the boost if you want to, because we are running Varga. So you do get that name. And then lastly, right over here, this actually feels pretty good in the grade 3 slot. On your first Dauntless turn over here, just when your Vanguard, choose one of your Vanguards. It gets auto on Vanguard Circle once per turn. When this unit stands, all your front row units get 10k until the end of turn. Just, again, boosting that up. It doesn't matter if you use it on your Varga turn, on your Dauntless turn. Like, this just puts that extra pressure on. Dauntless also, if you did not drive check a trigger, gives it 10k to just something on the board, a rear guard, I believe. I think it has to be a rear guard. So choose one of your front row rear guards. Yeah, so it allows you to kind of just amplify that a little bit more. Just feels like it's natural in the deck. I think that at 2 of, it is absolutely fine. Seen some people cut it, seen some people run more. I think 2 of is, like I said, fine. It feels really great when you see it, and you're not like absolutely dead in the water if you don't see it. Moving into the grade 2s over here, something that really helps us with Dauntless in general. I think this came out in the same set. Breath Dragon. So at the end of battle, it attack. If your opponent's rear guard is retired this turn, you get to retire this unit, draw a card. Just feels like almost like the other Varga support. Not a big deal overall. I think some people, I think, were running out of the card. I forgot the condition of it. But when it's wrote upon, also choose one of your opponent's rear guards and retire it. If you do not retire it, you draw a card. I think that's like the real zinger that like makes this card more valuable than the other one, even though the other one gets that 5k retire draw. It's a little more conditional, this one, but overall just feels a little better in certain situations, and I think that's definitely worth it to run over that other overdress one. But if you don't have those, if you're trying to keep the super budget, I think the the regular Varga standard one is fine as well. The next card over here is the Ride Fixer. Ride Fixers are good because they're Ride Fixers. You do want to be on the right ride targets. Like, I think Breath Dragon and a certain grade 1 over here feel really good. So if you're going to use it for that purpose, absolutely fine. This could also help proc another grade 1 that we are running, which could help you kind of in the long run and make sure that your opponent does not resource deny you. Also, the Soul Blast, like I said, just Soul Blast, choose a column, retire all your opponent's rear guards in that column. Very easy to get off. You are running a lot of grade 1s in here. Should be reasonably able to do that. And of course, just limiting your opponent's resources, rear guards, things of that nature. If they're not like, fading their entire fields, it always feels good. So Kagero retires. It does what it does. I think at 3 of, it's the perfect ratio. 2 of these over here, this is Dragon Dancer Frema. So Frema boosts. It also allows you to Soul Blast 1, retire all your opponent's rear guards in the same column as that unit when it's placed on rear guard during your turn. And if you did not retire 2 or more cards, draw a card. Basically allowing us to go and just grab a little bit more cards. Helps us out with Dauntless Dragon if we need to. If your opponent has 1 or less rear guard, also, like I said, it gets boost. Just boosting something for 10k is pretty good. So overall, a little bit, just very generic kind of grade 2 lineup. Nothing too crazy overall. Getting into our grade 1s now. Also kind of generic. There's 1 or 2 things in here that are, maybe a little bit more useful for this kind of build or this style of build in general. But Dragon Knight Heot is a staple in premium Kagero. This is no different. Basically, right on top of it, search your top 7 for a grade 3. We're running a ton of grade 3 targets. Deck thinning is deck winning. Get that extra plus to your hand. Feels absolutely great. It's 1 on place ability. Like, yeah, you could draw a card if you want. You can pop something. It's it's there if you need it. It's not really the big allure of this card, but again, this is a target for that grade 2 Ride Fixer. I forgot the name of it off already. That's not already off the top of my head, but yeah, definitely need that at a 4 of, I think. Over here, next up, we are running Lavaflow Dragon. So this is just a generic one. We're not running any of the new, the Blade Master kind of package to kind of ride up and Superior Ride. No, Dauntless is our plan. Typically go Force 2 on it, by the way. I forgot to kind of mention that before, but Dauntless is our plan. Need to see it. Need to see Varga. This feels like just a generically good card. I don't think there's anything else to really say about that. 10k shield is always nice as well. The extra 5k condition, if your opponent has less rear guards than you, is pretty easy to hit in this too. Something that I did not want to get denied on my Varga turn. The Counterblast issue came up a couple times, so I ended up putting in Flame of Hope Aro. I think you can put in the G version also. It's a little more expensive. I didn't have any extra copies on hand, so I was rocking this one. The extra card draw, the extra counter charge just feels good at certain times. If your opponent thinks they're going to deny you, boom, the retires in this are pretty much through Soul. You don't really use Soul for much else. So that, in combination with this card, helps you countercharge, helps you get an extra draw off over here. Also, during the battle boosted, gets an extra 3k. It's a weird 11k number, but I feel like it actually matters a little bit more. Maybe I'm thinking the math off the top of my head. Can't really say yes or no definitively, but now with the 11k bodies that some people are running, I think that actually is pretty decent overall. So yeah, running 2 of those just to have that kind of out available. You can bump this to 2 if you want, but I'm running just 1 of these. Again, a win more card. We're playing through our Vanguard. Feels pretty natural to have it, but just Calamity Tower Wyvern. Thanks, Jake, for recommending. You know, I felt like at a certain point I was like, wait, there's a card that does something like this. Yeah, I have a million of these. I just forgot, but including one of feels fine. This is going to be a proxy for Elementaria right here. You can make 2 of them if you want of these guys and just bump some trigger ratios we'll go over in a second up, but I'm just running 1 Elementaria because, we are looking to survive throughout the game and get to our second grade 3 ride, and that definitely helps. And then any starter will do, just make sure it's a V-Series one. Over here, I'm just running Undo over there, just keeping it classic Kagero. Getting into our triggers now. The trigger lineup is a little weird in here. I literally have probably like 5 pretty much fully constructed like Kagero decks. Like, I don't have the draw triggers for absolutely every single one of them, like the draw crits, so I kind of swap them if I'm bringing them to like a tournament or whatever. So just be forewarned, that will be proxies in here, but this is going to be Dragveta. Normally in the standard version of this, we do not use this because it's on attack. You counterblast 1, restand your Vanguard, but that's in standard. In premium, we're more going on like the Dauntless Drive Dragon thing first. We're more so going on the Divine skill. Like, you could potentially hit like the over trigger and just go a little bit further. This is a little bit more of a high roll kind of option, but it's way more consistent in premium. I think it's definitely worth it than running the blue OT. You can play around with whatever OT you want. You want to use the yellow one, just draw a bunch. Like, you could do that too, but I feel like in a deck that wants to restand its Vanguard, just makes sense to kind of keep on with that theme. Over here too, we're also running 3 of Wyvern Guard Bari. So Bari draws us cards. We need to discard for Dauntless Drive Dragon. I feel like it's, again, pretty natural that we just want to do that. Pretending that 4 of these are the Stride Fodder crit, 4 of these are the new, the Blade Master kind of named one. I forgot the name of him off the top of my head, but definitely want the defensive draw ones if you're going to play this for real. Again, don't actually play these vanilla crits right here. Just play the new ones that came out. I know it's a little bit more expensive, but it definitely makes a huge difference. Dauntless is discarding a lot, so drawing is good in this deck. You definitely want to be doing it. And then I am doing a 2-2 split over here. You can go full 4 on the Natasha, Dragon Dancer Natasha, but I just think, like I said, I don't want to be denied or late into the game. Sometimes these pop up. It's pretty easy to find kind of the grade 3 heals in general with the searchers and such. I feel like this is fine. Your G guards, doesn't matter what you really have. This over here just feels good to countercharge, soul charge. So yeah, that is the main deck right here. Let's get into the Gzone now. Gzone does not really matter in this deck. This is kind of just a very generic kind of thing. Just, I don't know why, I forgot. I think I would bump this down to 1 copy, but just running 2 of these right here. This is going to be the ride up thing. Again, doesn't really matter. I would maybe run 1 more of the Zanbus Dragon instead of 2 of these, but just having that on hit retire, just something to go into without a counterblast feels pretty decent overall if you don't want to go into Barricot. But something that is important, I feel like Ziegenberg should be in this just to kind of keep up that theme of restanding Vanguard. It's pretty easy to get that off in general. The GB3 is a little bit more difficult to hit in this because we are not going into our Gzone as often. So if you are guarding with kill guards, G guards, things like that, like make sure that you are kind of using it if you have that game plan that, okay, I need to go into Ziegenberg. Like, this is like a panic button kind of thing. You don't really want to be planning for this at all, but it's in the Gzone just in case you need it. Barricot, always just a simple, generic, easy Kagero kind of thing to go into. Get yourself an extra crit, an extra drive, just powerful. It just feels good in general. You have a ton of retire in this deck. Dumjeed Valor, again, I feel like it's kind of like an unsung hero of the clan in general. Like, everyone knows this. Everyone knows it's like good or whatever, generically good, but like, in certain situations, especially if you have the Force 2 on your Vanguard, like, they're like so kind of their back is just so against the wall where like they have to heal out sometimes. This card has won me so many like weird kind of matchups where like just I thought there was absolutely doomed going to Dumjeed. They don't have like a good situation that they can be in. And this gets around, I believe, Elementaria as well. So just feels really nice in general. Zanbus Dragon, again, just generically decent. Retire your opponent's field, give 10k to everything. I said all the grade 3s or all the rear guards. So there's a grade 3 or greater rear guard. Yeah, all grade 3 or greater units get 10k. There's going to be a proxy for a Messiah over here. Just, of course, you need the tickets in this game. For the G guards, 3 flaming chickens. This is going to be Flame Wing, Steel Beast, Denial Griffin. Denial Griffin is just, the original disruption on your opponent's turn. Pop something in their front row. This, again, is a life or death kind of card. Sometimes it saves you from a game state you cannot get out of otherwise, so it's super good. 1 pseudo PG, one of the newer guys over here. This is going to be Blaze Dragon Dance Selima. Selima is, again, if you have the condition to kind of do this, Soul Blast 1, discard 4 cards from your hand, choose one of your units, cannot be hit until the rest of the battle, and then for every open rear guard on your opponent's side, you get to subtract 1 of those cards discarded from your hand. And this is not a Lawkeeper build, so we're not really focusing on doing that. Like, yeah, if you have 2 I guess Heal Guardians or whatever, two heals in your hands. You can pop off a chicken, you can go into that, like makes it a little bit easier, whatever the case. It's just in there. It's a pseudo PG. Over here also, sometimes you just need that extra 10k. This is super easy to kind of get over here. CV1. Boom, pop that down, you get an extra 10k. Just, you know, not really the best, but you mainly go into Denial Griffin. But that is really the deck. That's really my thoughts on it. I think that it is super, super fun. I feel like just, you know, you kind of sneak games off of decks that do not expect it. Like, once you get rolling with this, if you get to your kind of Varga turn, which you should, you know, I don't think it's really that hard to do it in today's metagame. Certain decks, most decks don't kill on their first ride up, except for maybe like Chrono Jet, maybe Gold Paladin to an extent. Like, there's certain things that kind of do, but they're few and far between. And again, you don't really see them as often as you previously did. A lot of people are running History Collection stuff, and you can kind of get through it, and maybe you can kind of push, and like, even if something is playing Protect, you know, even if it's Night Rose, even if it's like, you know, Grand Blue, things of that nature, you're not calling from deck, you're not calling a bunch of different things. If you're under Hanali, who cares? Like, my Vanguard is the one swinging. I feel like this deck kind of gets around a whole lot of things, and kind of just, you know, puts your opponent in an unexpected situation. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys have any questions, let me know down below. This is Alex from Alex CFE signing out.